Okay, George Fells back with you, and this is our penultimate match of the tournament. We have Chicagoans Bob Cozzolino and Rick Michalec Jr., both of whom you've already seen. And we should have good pace to this match. These are two players who, when they're in form, play quickly. Both know what they're doing, make up their minds without much dawdling. Should be an enjoyable match. And the winner is to play Tom Karabatsis to determine the second of our finalists. Excellent break by Bob Cozzolino. Returned the one ball to its starting position. Left nothing. Small field, it's fairly predictable that the best players will resurface at the end, and I think we can probably say that's what happened here. The four men left are probably the field's best four. Ed Latimer, who lost in the last round, deserves consideration for that too. The oldest player in the field, grandfather of five, plays a fine game, narrowly lost to Rick Jr. in the last round. So Rick tried to thin the far side of the stack, went in the drink, which is exactly the risk of that shot. Bob has a break shot on the 13 to begin things, ball in hand behind the string. Missed that ball by quite a bit. Looks like he may have gotten away with it unless Rick wants to take a flyer on that one ball. He missed that shot so badly it worked out to be safe. We had a number of misses tonight where intended object balls didn't even catch a pocket jaw. Usually a sign of nerves. Players at this level are not expected to miss quite that wildly. I believe Rick will play safe off of this. And he does, and he successfully leaves the cue ball underneath the object balls with nothing available for shots. There are safeties available here. Among them, he could play right into the 13 ball and stick the cue ball there. He's going to just drive the 5 to the rail. It's going to be a while before these balls come open, folks. All 15 of them are out there, and there's only one available to a pocket right now. That's the 3. They're probably going to jockey back and forth with safeties underneath the balls here. Rick has to be careful here because the 214 is very makeable. He can't get to it, but he can't leave the cue ball anywhere where his opponent can. He has to bring the cue ball back across the table down here, or he's going to, well, I think he's okay from there. That 14 ball looks awfully close to being dead off the 2. If Bob can get the cue ball there, right now he cannot.
Hey, that comes.
Remember, to get things moving, Bob Cozzolino sends the cue ball to the far end rail and dares his opponent to shoot something. He's got at least 2 makeable shots here. The 3 ball appears to have an open path, and he has the 1-5, not dead, but it's makeable. He's looking at that 2 ball in between the 14 and 8. See if that might be a makeable combination shot from where he is. Certainly has access to it. Can't tell from here whether it will go or not. Be sure it's pretty close for him to study it this closely. I guess he's going to play that combination shot. And the 2-ball does go. The balls are open with very minor problems. The 4-14 need to be separated. The 1-5 combination is not on, but makeable. But he doesn't have a whole lot to do here. The 3 and the 9 and the 1. All potential break shots into the next frame. Well, there goes the 9. Actually, this table could be run without ever touching a second object ball if he wanted to be careful enough about what he's doing. He'd need to get on the other side of the 14 and 4, but that's certainly doable. He could get there right now if he wanted to. Looks like he's probably going to play position for the 7 ball here. The cue ball's going to hook a left, go up in the direction of the 3 without going all the way there. Well, he went all the way there, and there goes another break shot. Should have stopped before then, and he would have had the 7 in a position where he could likely follow the 7 and open the 4 and 14 balls. He's still all right with shots, but his break shot options are vanishing. The 1 and the 5 are solved. Five and 4 balls are probably his best remaining break shot possibilities. Play the 1 up in the corner here. Shoot the 15 or 12 next, I would think. Boy, oh boy. That ball hit the middle of the rail and the middle diamond between the side and corner pockets. Still fell. That's a little farther than he wanted to go. Probably would like to have played the 7 ball next. In the 12 in the side, I guess. Hard to tell the difference between stripes with the lights on the balls from here. 12 in the side. Looks like he's going to take the 5 off, so I'm somewhat puzzled as to what his break shot's going to be. He's better advised to shoot the 7, bring the cue ball over here to the right of the 4 and 14, proceed from there. That way he can preserve the 5. I think that's what he's thinking about doing. That's what he did. So he can't avoid the 14 here. It will almost certainly be his next shot. Got a good angle on it. Should have no problem getting to the center of the table here. Nicely played. Shoot the 9 and stop. Shoot the 3 in the opposite corner. And Bring the cue ball over to the right-hand side of the table. Should be on into the next rack. He left himself a little less angle on the ball than this, but this is okay. Easily drift the cue ball over to a break shot position from here. And he blew the ball. Got position, blew the shot. First 13 of the points of the match go to Rick Michalec Jr. If you're going to miss, you don't want to make it quite this easy for your opponent to get on the break ball, but that's what he did. And a very benign little kiss there between the cue ball and the 5. Not only does he preserve a break shot, he even actually has a better one. He did not intend to go into that 5 ball at all with the cue ball. 13-1. Break shot's nicely played. Came off the rack with some reverse spin, which helped retard the cue ball's progress. That's just what you want. Ideally, you'd like the cue ball in the center after your break shot, but as long as balls are open, you can still proceed. 12-1 combination is one possibility for opening up those still clustered balls, and so is the 10. He's going to pick off some of these stragglers first. I would like to have seen Bob use that ball to get back to the center of the table that time. This is still workable, but he has a shallow angle on the 7. He's going to have to hit it with a little extra juice, get the cue ball out of there. Needs to come around the 10 here. Didn't. No harm done though, because he has a good angle on the 10 to get to the 4. Or the 12-1 combination. Either one will serve to break up the cluster. He'd prefer to use the combination to break up the cluster so that he can save the 4, but apparently he's going to use the 4. The 1 ball is going to do the work here of breaking up the balls. Cue ball goes to the bottom rail, and while nothing went with him, he does have side pocket shots available. Yeah, a nice pressure shot in the side pocket. Can use the 10 to get on the 15 here to open up the balls if he wants. I'm seeing players go deep into racks without establishing their next break shots here. Generally speaking, you'd like to be able to read that with 4 or 5 balls left on the table. Hasn't worked out that way. The 3 ball will do if he doesn't create a better break shot. The 8 ball will serve to get him on that 3. Complimentary left-handed draw shot here. Probably play the 12 ball next if he comes out far enough. The other thing Bob can do here is get on the 8 ball. Well, he didn't stop on the 8, straight on the 8 ball as he had hoped. What he can do now is either use the 7 to separate those 3 balls nearest the center of the table, or he can play the 7 as a stop shot and use the 11 to separate the 12 and the yellow and get his break shot position that way. But now he's over where he has to play the 12 first. Try not to run into the 3. Good. So the 3 ball will do. It's a fair break shot. He'll certainly be able to let his stroke out to affect it the right way. Excellent position that time. Got a good angle to just walk his cue ball over there. Use spin. Got a good angle. Fine shot for follow. And with that break, Bob Cozzolino takes the lead 15-13. Made that rag possible was the clutch 2 ball in the side shot from the bottom rail. Bob needs his cue ball to contact the 15 ball here, and in order to do that, he's going to have to hit this break shot with some authority. If he plays it softly, the cue ball is going to take on the interior balls on the rack, and that won't work out well. He went into the head balls, but he did not plan his escape route adequately. He may have caught some of that ball behind the head ball, and that usually leads to disaster. There's simply too much mass for one ball to move. Plays illegal, but not particularly effective safety, and leaves some open balls. It's not enough to know your cue ball is going into the stack. You have to plan a route for it to come away from the stack, too. There are 3 factors in a break shot, and it works out a lot better if you only divide your attention 2 ways rather than 3. Focus on making the object ball and getting the cue ball in the clear. And the clustered balls tend to take care of themselves, particularly when you select the right speed at which to hit the shot. Rick wants to begin with the 4 ball here, but he'd like the cue ball to avoid the 1. I think he's going to avoid that and take the 2 ball first. Haphazard draw, but it did get the cue ball loose. He's in jail here unless he has some sort of shot on the stripe that I can't see, but he's frozen on the 9. Looks like he can make that. I guess it's the 10 ball. 13. Yeah, he could. He made it. He made it. And now I'll make the 7. He could come off the rail here and try and open up those 5 balls if he wished. Not sure what his plan for opening that cluster is. Can't do it with the 1. When in doubt, go to the center of the table. He does not want the cue ball to run into the 4, and it didn't. He can use the 13 to separate that cluster if he likes. Looked like he had reverse draw on that ball. Got just where he wanted to be on the 11. Go into the clustered 4 balls. Nicely done. Looks like the 4 will not pass the 9, but that's not really a problem. The 14 or the 13 will be his break shot. That was nonchalanted. Very careless mistake to get the underneath the 12 ball that way, but shot makers of this caliber shouldn't be a problem. He's going to put this ball on the side. Well, he went for the corner. No problem. Corner was the better choice anyway. Now, neither the 8 nor the 4 nor the 13, neither are particularly good key balls for the 14. But that's where he finds himself. It means he has to go from side to side. That's never easy. That's if he stays out of the drink here, and he didn't. It's not a particularly well-played sequence, or he wouldn't have 3 balls this widely spaced. 4 balls now. But the 9 ball makes a big difference because it makes it easy for Bob Cozzolino to go from the 13 to the other side of the table to get the 14. Pretty sure the 9 goes by the 14. I think the proper verb would be trudged. I don't want to hear that your eyes go drop on that. You're a sophisticated man. Sophisticated man. Sophisticated man. Actually, Bob Cozzolino has a pretty good angle on this 4 ball if he wants to play it. He has to achieve center table with the cue ball. He's looking to see exactly where the 14 ball is now in relation to where the head balls will go when the balls are re-racked. He could play the 14 here and use the 4 for a break shot as it's decidedly inferior to going the other way. May want to go twice across the width of the table here for the center of the table rather than trying to finesse it with the left-hand draw. And he's shooting this opposite-handed too. Now he chose the finesse way and he didn't quite get far enough. I considered shooting that with the bridge instead of opposite-handed. I think he can still make this, but it's the ultimate thin cut shot. Everything's good here. The food's good, the tables are good, the owners are nice. Red Shoes is a great place to play pool, really is. Okay, so Bob Cozzolino rallies. And we have a score of 22. It's like 22 to 18. 2 scratches so far. This is one of those shoot it if you dare shots. It'd be awful hard for him to hit that outside edge of the 14 ball and keep the rack balls from interfering with the 14 on its flight to the pocket. Looks like he's going to shoot it though. No, he chooses a safety. Well, thank you very much. Did Sailor finally leave me one of these or not? I got two? Oh, good. Wonderful. I'm ready for lots more matches in that case.
But I decided to cut one of mine out.
Uh, we're enjoying some of the aforementioned Kringle from Kenosha. No pastry quite like it. Deliberate foul for Rick Michalec. Score goes to 21 to 17, I guess. It was 21-18, now it's 21-17. Not quite. That's two fouls. And we're down to 20-18. Bob returns the courtesy. These guys are going backwards. Victory lies ahead, fellas, not behind. We're probably going to have to use this 9-ball as some sort of a break shot. It's not a very good one. Hard to reach, hard to generate any real power. And yet here we are. I'm not sure if he can see that ball on the bottom rail or not. He doesn't look too upset, so I suppose he can. If not, he has the 11 on the side. Not only could he shoot that ball, but he was able to do so productively. Only 5 masked balls left to get open. Peculiar choice there to open the balls further, but still worked. 4-ball represents a break shot opportunity now. Nice control there. Kill the ball. 1 ball come off here. Shot with not a little anxiety. Probably use the 7 to get on the 5 here. He went even farther than that. The 8, 2, and 4 balls would be 3 good balls to leave here, but it looks like he's going to take the 2 off first. That shot was played a bit casually for my taste. Wound up with Much too demanding an angle on the 3 ball. He's going to have to go up and down the table here. Unless he wants to shoot the 13 first. Might wind up with better break shot position by doing that if he can pocket this. There's no substitute for young eyes, folks. Don't let anybody tell you that there is. He can go 6-3-8 now. Excellent. Excellent angle on the 3 to get on the 8 cleanly. He's going to use high right here. He got a little straighter than he'd like, but all he has to do is draw back a little bit past where he is now. There we go. So Rick Michalec polishes off a rack. And I believe that will make the score 31 to 20. Good to see the players cooperate like this in racking the balls. Part of the sportsmanship of straight pool. It's a gentleman's game. Kind of a pain in the neck to rack the balls at the wrong end of the table, but it's necessary for the... We need the space for the video feed. Good break shot for Rick Michalec, but we need... I'm sorry, I'm putting the points on the wrong score here. Rick Michalec now leads 34 to, looks like, 17. I want to caution our reviewers against about break balls this close to the rack. Part of the problem is that the ball you're calling absorbs a lot of the cue ball's initial speed, and then the rack is right next to it to take on. This is part of the reason we like to see break balls a little farther away from the rack than this. This is still eminently workable. But the problem is exerting sufficient force on the rack, and he did there, and he got enough extra juice on the cue ball to avoid the foul in the corner pocket. That was an excellent execution there. 8 in the side and the 2 in the corner are the obvious next selections. Going to start with the 2. Not sure I understand that, but okay. You know, this is not particularly good. It's not bad. I think he'd like to leave the 12 ball alone for a while, but instead he has to go into it very early in his sequence. Going to have to create a break shot. Can't explain to you why he left the 8 ball there. Barely made that one, but barely still counts. He could shoot the 15 now to separate the 3 and 9, or he could get position on it with the 10. Well, he may manufacture his break shot right here. Nope, a little too hard. He's stuck very unpleasantly on that 1 ball, but I think he can make the 7. Cut the 7 backwards, semi-backwards really. It's impossible to cut the ball backwards, but that's the terminology that the game uses. Now, in shooting the 6, Rick will try to move the 15 here, and the 15 may go to a place where it's the break shot. That's the 11 ball. It went too low. What he could do here is shoot the 1 and draw back a little bit, shoot the 3, bump the 14 into break shot position, and the 11 ball would serve as his safety valve shot. And that's what I'd do with this. He could run the 9 up into the top left-hand corner pocket. Most players prefer not to pass the side pocket along a rail. I think he's going to play this as I suggested. Notice how he's going to pass over the 11 ball in order to save it for one shot from now. This is a straight pool move you should learn. He drove the 14 ball up table instead of a cross table so that he does not get the good break shot position I was thinking he would strive for, and he still has the 8 ball to deal with, and he could have shot it as his first ball. See if that comes back to haunt him. Had he made the 8 ball his first shot, he'd be in a lot less difficulty than he is right now. He got good position on it, but I can't help but think his sequence would have been far more successful if the 8 ball had come off the table earlier. A shallow angle on this ball means you got to drive the cue ball either with follow or draw. And it's draw. Looks like he's going to go from this ball to get position on the 9 and save that ball up near the top of the rack. Now it's going to be hard for him to do that. Thought he was going to play position for a side pocket break, and now he's going to play for a corner pocket break. Very nice cut shot. Not quite enough speed. I believe Rick felt there that the speed necessary to bring him back to the center of the table would have him flirting with that side pocket a little more than he was comfortable with. Rick Michalec has progressed to, looks like 48. 48 to 17. And there Rick just demonstrated the main pitfall of coming off a rail to break the balls. You don't get sufficient impact on the stack. Excuse me. He can create a safety here, but he wasn't looking to play safe. He was looking to run some more balls. This doesn't look like it's going to get to the end rail. So that'll be a foul. Cozzolino comes to the table down good 30 balls. 40, looks like 47 to 17. Looks like he can make the 7 ball, but just barely. If he cares to shoot it, he does have his opponent on a foul, which means he can take an intentional foul if he wishes. That's what he's going to do. Now the 7 ball is unmakeable, and it'll be difficult to figure out a return safety here that does not leave open shots. As long as we have this shot of Rick Michalec, notice how unusual his stance is with the lead leg off to the side. It's almost a modified snooker stance, except he's not as low over the cue. But it's only the right half of his body that's over the cue and involved in his stance. His left leg is like an innocent bystander. He did leave the 11 in the side here if Bob Cozzolino cares to shoot it. and follow-up shots are available. Tricky because he wants to stop the cue ball on this shot, which means he has to hit the shot with a little more speed than he wants to. And he went to the pocket point, trying to leave the 3 ball as a break shot. Instead, he left it for his opponent. Nice job there to force the cue ball through there. If the 4 ball didn't ruin his shot on the 2. Even if it did, he has other options. I'd like to shoot the 2 now to open up the 15 and 7. And that's what he did. Minimally, but still productively. Towards the center of the table now for more cue ball options. Get that straggler up table out of there, I would think. Looking at other balls. I think he's going to go several rails for position here. Not sure why he'd want to do that. Pretty much back where he was with the ball up table and the ball in the side pocket to shoot. He would like a little more angle on this 11 ball. He still should be able to come back towards center table though. And he does it with straight draw rather than using the rail. Cutting the 8 ball here. Nicely done. We'll use the 12 to separate the 5 and 4 a bit farther than where they lie now. One of them will be his break shot. That surprised me. That surprised me. If the 5 goes by the 4, those may be the last 2 balls he leaves. Or he could save the 5 and 9 for his last 2 balls. He goes from the 6 to the 1 here. Looks like he's going to play it the way I suggested. Chooses to take the 5 off the table. We'll have the 13 on the side, and then I'll have that 2 rail route off the 1 ball. Or maybe you can do it with straight draw now. Straight draw is far better, obviously, than 2 rails. He left the cue ball in the rack, and that's okay too. Leaves him a long break shot, but at least he'll be able to drill it. And Rick Michalec progresses to a total of 60 points. A comfortable lead for Rick Michalec here, and a good break shot. The distance between cue ball and object ball dictate that he'll be able to drill this ball. like to use draw here to avoid proceeding off the corner ball into the lower left corner pocket. And we'll have to hit it with some extra oomph behind it to get the cue ball free. Unless he plans to soft roll this ball and just break one or two balls loose out of the bottom row. I don't think that's how he's going to do, though. No, he hit it with emphasis. Did very well. Looks like the 2-ball goes between the 10 and 8. If not, he has the 7 in the side. Or that's the 3-ball. The 3-ball on the side are up table, and he found the 12-ball. That goes too. Note that the 5-ball has to come off fairly early in this sequence because it blocks the 6's path to the corner. He could move it now by shooting the 10 if he wished. He's going to shoot the 8. Maybe come in between the 5 and 6. That's what he's doing. Went a little too far. He can hit this 3-ball with modest draw and get position on the 5-ball. That's what he did. Now, soft follow here, he can use the 7 as a break shot to open up those 5 clustered balls. 15 would be dead if the 2-ball weren't where it is right now. He's going to, cue ball will contact the 9-ball, open up the clustered. He's fine. Best ball he could use as a key ball now would be the 10. He's probably going to go from the 11 to the 2. No, went a little too far for that. He can still shoot it if he wants to, but now he has to bump more balls that don't have to be bumped. He's going to go for the 14 on the side, I guess. We're playing a nice fluid pace here. Something we've been eager to see today. Looks like it'll be 1-2-9. Would have been better off saving the 9 for a side pocket, and they let the play for a corner now, but still shouldn't slow him down. Didn't go too far, just cue ball just drifts over for break shot position here. Doesn't have to use the rail. Well, he tried to force draw into position, and he wound up with less than what he would have liked, but he's all the way up to 75 now. He's got a lead in excess of 60 balls. So this missed opportunity is not quite as critical. He's at 74. He could use follow for a break shot here, but I don't think he will. That's really a Wild West shot. Better he makes this ball for score and goes into the side of the stack for a safety. Looks like he's going to try and get to the stack with this. I'm not crazy about this. And the 2 rails with inside English doesn't work. He's going to play safe into the 14 ball here. And it looks like he executed it just right with Safety available on the left side rail, I guess, if he can hide the 11 successfully, but still. Bob Cozzolino has some problems here, in addition to being 60 balls in arrears. He's going up to the head rail. Hope he can hide the 8 ball from view and use spin to do that. Left the ball on the left side rail as I predicted. Now, he has to hope that the cue ball cannot get to the 12 from here. And that the 12 would then have to go by the 8. I don't see anything else in there, and that was a well-conceived safety. He's also looking at the 2 ball as a combination shot. And it looks like we're going to get another safety, leave his opponent the same puzzle he has now. Cue ball come back. He left the cue ball closer to the middle of the table than he'd like. Might be able to see the 8 ball from there. He's got 9 feet to cover with it, if indeed he can see it. Looks like he can. He's looking at the 2 ball too. But Michalec didn't want it, and I don't think he's going to want it either. He has to get the cue ball lower than the 3 in order to progress from here. And he might have gotten where he can play the 15 ball first, and that would be a boon. If not, he should be using the 3 ball to try and get on the 9. He can't do as much with the 15 here as he could have if he had done what I suggested. He still has shots open. Maybe he can draw back to get position on the 11. What I suggested would have been better. Apparently he didn't feel he had the angle to pursue that. He could make the 2 in the side next after this 15, either the 15 or the 12, can't really tell from here. But that will almost surely be his next shot. Breaks gently, moves very well for a wide man. Not sure what that one was designed to produce, other than a very difficult cut shot into the side. I guess he's going to play the 2 ball, and it did go. Unfortunately, he forgot to plan an escape route for his cue ball. Hard to believe players blunder into this. They have the savvy to recognize the dead shots, and yet they don't think it through far enough to plan how will my cue ball escape the still clustered balls. Very, very fundamental error. You have got to look ahead in this game. Not just a matter of shooting balls in holes. You can get the ball just to the end rail and hope that his opponent's shot-making skills don't overcome it. He hit that ball way harder than he would have liked. The 5 ball is not that difficult a shot for a shot maker of Rick Jr.'s capabilities. I expect him to make this ball. Don't know if the 13 will be his next shot or not. Can't tell if it goes. He tried to cheat the pocket a bit too ambitiously there. He's going to start with the 9 ball. I'd rather see him shoot the 5 and use the 11 to move the 1 and 14 out of where they are. 12 ball would be his insurance ball. Open up the 4 and 10 for break shots. I don't think this is the ball to begin with. He can still do what I just suggested he'd do, but he'd like it better if there were that extra ball on the table to buffet him from the results of his shot to come on the 11. That's what he should be looking at, is use the 11 to go into the 14 ball softly. He chose not to do that. He's going to use the 12 ball, separate the 4 and 10, and I imagine the 11 ball will serve as his insurance ball here. Got a good shot at the 1, so he doesn't need the 11 until after this shot. Once again, didn't want to be that straight in. Critical ball here is the 14. It's in the middle of action there. He had left himself sufficient angle on the 11 to come back off the bottom rail and the left side rail and get the 14 next. All the problems would be solved here. And he can still do this, but he's probably going to have to go from the 13 to the 14, unless he wants to shoot the 4 ball now. It's easy to see why he doesn't want the 11 ball now. Looks like he's going to try and make the 14 ball first. Again, he has to stop the cue ball there. This time he makes it. Okay, he's going to go up table with this, I guess. Again, don't be afraid to use those top pockets. Shots into them, short shots. By short shots, I mean little distance between the cue ball and object ball. The 2 top pockets are no more difficult than the 2 bottom ones. Yeah. That's lukewarm too. He really, ideally, should wind up on the left side of the 13, not the right side, but let's see how he does. He can play this with soft draw and still get his position. A little trickier than it had to be. And this time he remembers to draw the ball sufficiently for position. So Rick Michalec stays stuck on 75, and Bob Cozzolino progresses to, looks like, 28. Behind. This is as good an example of a draw break shot as you could ask for. Follow would be extremely risky here. Cue balls would go right in between the 6 and 2 balls, just where you don't want it to go if you're trying to avoid the right hand lower pocket. Bob's going to try and draw this cue ball back towards center table. Of course, he's welcome to prove me wrong, but a follow would be extremely risky with a shot like this. But playing off the 5-ball that way, Bob hoped to achieve a little more angle than he's got here, but he can work with this. Center table's the next destination. Could have come a little farther. I'm not sure. I guess the 14 passes through there between the 4 and 13 balls. No, he shot the 2, but nonchalanted his position, and he will probably pay for it. He fully meant to click on the 1 ball there, have the 3 ball for next, but he failed to adjust for angle. Clutch shot on the side pocket needed here. And he soft rolls it home. Nicely done. Still needs to break up that nasty little triangle near the spot. And because of the position of the 3 ball, he really can't use the 1 ball to do that, so I'm not sure how he's going to do it. Well, 9 ball is too straight to do much with except shoot right in like that. Well, actually, he can shoot the 11 ball to get position on the 12 on the side and come down and break up that 3-ball cluster, but again, we're seeing problems left on the table too late in the sequence. Those 3 balls should have been separated by now. And you can say, well, what's the difference when he separates them as long as he gets the job done? None if it works out, but he could have made things a lot easier for himself by separating the balls sooner. Now he has to watch out for a scratch, and he couldn't avoid it. Rick will undoubtedly use the 3 ball here to break up the 7-6 in the ball that's about to be spotted. Things just haven't fallen in place for Bob Cozzolino this game. Be lucky if his opponent doesn't end the game in this inning. He has every opportunity to use the 3 ball to create a break shot out of either the 7 or 6. He's got the 13 and 8 ball for insurance balls. That's pretty much where you want to be. Well, he chooses to go around the balls. That's a valid approach too. Left himself on the rail, a little trickier than it needs to be. Correctly chooses the 7 there, so to be sure of having the 6 for a second shot. He doesn't like his shot on the 8 or 13 balls. Those balls are kind of low for break shots. 2 balls in a pretty good place to play position for them. Probably ought to play the 6 here so as to get straight in on the 13 and leave himself the 2 in the side. See if he can hit the bottom row of balls with the 8 ball as a break shot. It looks like he might take the 13 off now. Rather see him do what I said first. 6-13-2 appears to be more fertile than this, but he's at the table and he's the judge. Now he can't get on the 2 in the side anymore. He has to come back across the table to get on it in the lower left-hand quarter. The 8 ball is not an optimal break shot. It's down pretty low, but it looks like that's what he's going to play for. Well, not anymore. I don't think he's going to try and cut the 2 ball now. And he doesn't really have a very good angle on the 8 to get to the 2, but that's what he's going to try and create. Now he just left himself on a shot going up the table, which he will most likely play safe. Michalec goes to 80 points against his opponent's 37, it looks like. may play the ball for score and then play a safety into the stack. He actually tried to get the cue ball to the stack that time and didn't have much to work with. You have to be very careful not to leave a dead shot when you do what Rick Jr. just did. Looks like he got away with that. Left his opponent a long shot, which he can impact the stack minimally, but he can impact it, so he's got to play this. 15 ball. Well, he chose to play safe. That makes sense too. Apparently he didn't feel he had access to the right part of the object ball to pocket it. Otherwise, that ball should have been played. You know, I would rather have seen him play that safety off the bottom 2 rails and back into the stack. This is okay, but it's answerable. 2 rails and into the stack is much tougher to answer than simply driving this 9 ball to a rail someplace. He may try to pocket it in the side. Nope. He completes his safety. This rack will take a while, unless somebody makes a bad mistake. The 15 ball could be a break shot if somebody leaves an opportunity to get the cue ball down there, but mostly it figures to stay down here by the bottom rail for a number of innings. And this will be a tricky safety to return right here. Bob's looking for a safety into the stack, but I don't see one from here. Now he's looking for the carom of the 14 off the 5. That has some possibility, but he can't get to the top of the stack to play it. So he's probably going to play a safety and leave the cue ball in that line with the 9 and 15. So the 15 cannot be used for a break shot, but all he did was foul by a goodly margin too. Not that fertile, because although Rick has those 2 open balls, he doesn't have a ready way to get to the stack here. To see whether that 1 ball goes. Wouldn't appear that it does. If the 1 ball does go, he's going to need an awful lot of force follow here to get the cue ball free of the cluster. Might want to shoot down on the cue ball a little bit, get some hop on it into that stack. Nicely done. Nicely done. Even got a bonus of the 4 ball to act as a break shot right here. 8 and 5 act as his insurance balls. Surprised he didn't use it more forcefully than that. He has a break shot with a safety valve to it. He also has the 7-12, which appears to be dead, or close to it. Doesn't need it now. Balls are open. He has a break shot. 7 and 11 balls are the only remaining problem here, and they're not much of a problem at all. Go 14-10, play position for the 7. The rest is child's play. Notice how the 7 ball will open up everything. Could also play position for the 11 and bump the 7, but it's best case scenario is he plays the position for the 7 ball here. Okay, it's going to be the 11 ball. He doesn't want to bump the 13, and he didn't. He'd like to leave the 10 and the 6 here, but if he plays the 3, the cue ball runs into the 7, leaving him uncertain position. He's going to take his break shot off here, surprises me. I didn't care for the way he played that at all. And the game announced a swift punishment. Shotlessness. Had to save that 7 and he didn't do it. Looks like he's going to play safe and leave the ball up at the top rail. That's what it is. Very challenging shot for Bob Cozzolino. Rick moves to, looks like 88 and 2. He's at 90. Now they've adjusted the score to make up for the missing bead. Looks like Rick Michalec needs 7 points to win here. The best Bob Cozzolino can hope for is that he fires this 10 ball in and breaks up the 6 and 3, ideally enough that one of them is his break shot. He's not going to get many more turns at the table. Nicely played, but he missed the 2-ball cluster. Nice one pocket shot there, but only adds 1 ball. Really wasn't very productive. There's nothing you can do here with these 2 balls. He's looking to see if the 3 goes by the 7, but I don't think it does. But even if it does, he won't have a break shot. Unless that 7 ball is lower than I thought it was. It doesn't look like the 3 can go, but we'll see. It goes, and as predicted, he has nothing to get to the next rack with. So Bob Cozzolino goes to, looks like 39, and his opponent needs 7 more balls. Either 7 or 6. Can't really see from here. Seven ball was in the rack after all, so it goes to the head spot. He's hidden from it, but he does have a ready safety off the 4 ball. He's going to use the 13. What you want to do here is hit the corner ball and part of the ball next to it. Just like that. Attempted half-mass safety here. Executed. Okay, I think he may have left the 3 on the side. But he did complete the requirements for the safety. He may have a dead carom here in the 5 ball if it gets that far. Bob has shot well into this pocket in this game. Another one. Bob is looking for a logical ball to open up the 9 clustered balls. Choice is not exactly sumptuous right now. He could use this ball if he wants to draw it forcefully. A lot of uncertainties about the shot, though, such as exactly where he would contact the stack. I don't think he's going to do that. He's going to come around this way. Didn't get quite the angle on the 9 on the side that he wanted. Probably going to use the 9 coming back this way now to open up the stack for the masked balls. No, he didn't accelerate through the ball there. He decelerated, and that's when you get the half-hearted stroke you don't want. Rick Jr. can end this game right here. He figures out a way to open the 9 stacked balls. You can't use the 2 as a break shot because the 9 is in the way. You can use the 9 right now, and the 2 ball acts as a long distance insurance ball. And gets a perfect lie on the 11 ball to open up the remaining balls. This should be it here. 4, 9 balls remaining. He's already made 3. He's gone here. So we're going to have Tom Karabatsis versus Rick Michalec Jr. to determine who goes to New Jersey with Jeff Moe. Karabatsis and Moe may well be the two best straight pull players in the field. It's somewhat fitting, but we can't rule out Rick Jr.'s chances against Karabatsis. He's a good shot maker, playing 100 points, which isn't a lot. Get out in a few innings here if they hit their stride. Rick now needs 3 more balls. You can be sure he's going to save that 2 for the last one. And all he has to do is come off the rail far enough to shoot the 2 for game. That'll do it. And that'll do it. So, one more match for us tonight. Rick Michalec will play Tom Karabatsis for the last finalist spot in the tournament. Be back with you shortly.